Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel where we talk about skincare, grooming, and sometimes hair, so if that sounds like your thing, make sure you are subscribed. Also, come and follow me on Instagram where I post a lot of stuff you're not going to see here on YouTube. Today, I want to share more ingredients that I feel really changed my skin for the better. These are ingredients that I either picked up for a very particular purpose, or ingredients that I didn't really know I loved until I noticed a connection between loads of products I loved and it happened to be a single ingredient. But before I get into it, I would just like to state, of course, that I am no expert when it comes to skincare, and these are purely based on my observations and personal experience with my skin struggles, skin history, my observations as an avid consumer and someone who's done a little bit of research. As always, these videos are an open discussion, so if you know more about the ingredients and you just generally want to tell me how you feel about them, please leave that in the comments below. But let's start with my first ingredient. I'm going to start with glycerin or glycerol, and I know this is going to sound really boring, but whenever I mention glycerin as a highlighted ingredient in a product, I always get comments like, why are you mentioning glycerin? You may as well mention water. Glycerin is in everything. And you'll see if you read through the ingredients in some of your skincare, it's probably going to be in about 98% of what you actually own. Well, that's because glycerol is an amazing humectant. It's just been around for way longer than hyaluronic acid, for example, which seems to be having its moment in the spotlight. Like hyaluronic acid, it can draw moisture from the air into our skin, making our skin look nice and plump. May not be as effective, but it's still very good. And that's why it's still in everything. And it works great for all skin types, and it's something I've been looking for recently as I've been ditching hyaluronic acid as my main kind of humectant. Obviously, you'll notice as well, if you look on the INKEY list of your products, you'll see that glycerin is always way higher up than hyaluronic acid, sodium hyaluronate, hydrolyzed sodium hyaluronate. It's always probably usually the second, third, fourth ingredient on the list. And like hyaluronic acid, glycerin is naturally found within our skin, and it pretty much does the same thing as hyaluronic acid. It has a smaller molecular weight than ordinary hyaluronic acid, so it can penetrate the skin. But of course, you do now get the nano-size hyaluronic acid that goes deeper within. But this is kind of what I'm trying to avoid. So like the majority of humectants, you need to use a good emollient and occlusive with your humectants. Otherwise, you run the risk of drying out your skin. And this isn't just hyaluronic acid. I think a lot of people thought this is a new thing that only hyaluronic acid does and you shouldn't use it in dry climates and all that kind of stuff. It's any humectant. And another thing is you wouldn't want to use 100% glycerin on your skin. So you can't use it as like a serum stage. Just use it in a nicely formulated moisturizer. I do feel hyaluronic acid is just having its time in the limelight right now, and I do feel like the marketing side of the beauty industry makes us feel like we need hyaluronic acid, when really glycerin is going to do just the same job. I believe it's a lot cheaper as well. And glycerin also makes products feel really nice on the skin, as a bonus. The next ingredient is salicylic acid. This is a super obvious one that I've talked about before, this isn't any surprise that I love it, and the vast majority of us use it, but I still get questions about the best way to remove blackheads. And for me, salicylic acid, aka BHA, has been the best way to not only remove blackheads, but in general, keep them clear, make our pores look clear, leading to the appearance of smaller looking pores as well. Congestion-free pores. It is, of course, an exfoliant that helps remove all those dead skin cells, but it can actually penetrate deeper into the pore, giving us a good clear out, as well as working on the surface of the skin. Now, this is the thing, is regular use of BHA. Regular use of BHA will keep blackheads from forming, it'll keep your pores looking nice over time. I do feel like extraction is an immediate fix, and everybody just wants those blackheads out, but it's not a long-term solution, whereas BHA is your long-term solution. I just want to be clear as well what a blackhead actually is. This is a blackhead. These aren't. These are sebaceous filaments. Blackheads shouldn't be there. Sebaceous filaments should be there. I do still find that a good BHA and niacinamide can help in reducing the appearance of these sebaceous filaments, mainly because they balance your oil production, in turn making your pores in general look smaller and less congested, but you cannot get rid of sebaceous filaments, and you don't want to either. Whilst we're on the exfoliating acid topic, let's talk about polyhydroxy acid. An ingredient that's popped up a few times in my videos, but I've not really talked about much, I don't think. PHAs are supposedly gentler and less sensitizing versions of AHAs, and this is because PHA can't penetrate the skin as much as an AHA, therefore having less of a chance of causing irritation. However, this doesn't mean that you can say just whack it on any old skin. It still can cause some irritation because it's an exfoliating acid. It just has less of a chance. There's something about AHAs for me that my skin instantly goes a little bit red after I use it, and a little bit irritated. It feels stingy. Actually, Crave Beauty Beauty's Hallelujah is the only AHA I can use. That feels like there's nothing on my skin. Others tend to burn a little bit. A lot of you ask what my favorite AHA is, and it's the Crave Beauty one because it's the only one I can use, and of course it's good. But I have been loving the INKEY List PHA toner. It does the job, and I was able to use this whilst my skin was going through a little bit of irritation. Just on my nose, I used it on my nose and on my forehead, and my skin was absolutely fine. At this time, I hadn't exfoliated for a month because I was concentrating on healing my skin barrier, and the PHA was the first exfoliating product I went for, knowing there was less of a chance of that initial irritation. I was also using a lot last year in a moisturizer. It had LHA, okay, which I think is like the gentler version of BHA and PHA, and I loved it in a moisturizer. It did feel a lot less intrusive and a lot less irritating, and again worked slower over the night. It was a much gentler version of like an acid cream combination than I've ever used before. I want to talk about AMBOPHENOL. I've not seen a huge number of products with this in, to be honest with you. I've only seen it in one product, and that's a La Roche-Posay product. So I'm wondering, you're gonna have to help me here. I'm wondering if this is an ingredient that they've made up. Is it a combination, like a trademarked ingredient? And I found a study about it, but it was about the La Roche-Posay product and it was done by them, so you can't really trust them. But I can't really find a lot on it. But basically, AMBOPHENOL helps reduce the appearance of rosacea. So it reduces the size of blood vessels and strengthens the blood vessel walls. I'm quoting this from the La Roche-Posay. So I've been using this on some redness and broken blood vessels on my skin. I'm not really sure if it works like that or how it's working, but it is getting rid of my redness. I have noticed such a huge difference in my redness since not only using this, but since stopping a product that I think was triggering inflammation, an ingredient, sorry, that was triggering inflammation. And I've worked on repairing my skin barrier as well. And I think in turn with azelaic acid as a key ingredient, AMBOPHENOL has really been helping reduce that redness. I've been using serum with this in two times a day, and I feel like the serum does work perfectly with azelaic acid. I am talking, of course, about the Roche-Posay's, what's it called? It's called like Redalex or something. It's not called that. Rosium? I don't know. But you may have seen this a couple weeks ago in my evening routine video, but I filmed quite a fair bit ahead of time. So this was probably actually realistically about 5 weeks ago. So I've been using it for a while. It's lasting a really long time, and I really, really like it. And this has turned into a product review, but it's because of this ingredient. So AMBOPHENOL, La Roche-Posay say is a mix of polyphenols, which we know helps protect against free radical damage. That could be helping with the redness too, in turn. I don't know. I need your help with this. If there's any studies, trials, anything to back up the effectiveness of AMBOPHENOL, I've forgotten its name now, AMBOPHENOL, please let me know, because I want to know more about it, because I feel like it really has been reducing that redness in my skin. So that was quick. But they are the ingredients that I've been loving, like literally over the past year, 6 months. Let me know some of your favorites down below, no matter how glamorous it may be. Glycerin, perfect. Let me know yours in the comments down below. But that's it from me now, guys. I will see you next time.